What's up guys, how's it going? Toofty here, and nothing quite boils my blood like people who blame their team for losing. Oh dear. So this wasn't even next on my list of things to talk about for this series. I've got a bunch of things I want to talk about, including competitive play, weapon unlocks, cosmetics, all sorts, but I just couldn't handle it anymore. I had to say something. And also, normally I write a script for these, but I'm having a feeling I can just ride the wave of my passion and let this unfold because, I don't know about you guys, but it just annoys me big time. So, it's looking like you're about to lose, you're a little bit behind, and then someone types in the chat, noob team or lame team, my team's rubbish, why do I always get the rubbish team? And I want to slap them in the face. Now, to me it seems pretty clear about the why they do this, but I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to talk about kind of how you should approach playing an actual game in life. So yeah, in an ideal world, you should expect to lose just under half of the time, because if the balancing system is working properly, that should put you against similarly experienced players, and therefore you should have challenging games, and approximately half the time you should lose. So there seems to be some people who go into gaming expecting to win every time. It's just not a great mentality to have, really. You're just going to get frustrated. And it's these people who clearly do get frustrated and end up taking it out often on the other team, which is annoying to begin with, but worse still is when they take it out on their own team. So yeah, occasionally you get someone who's a bit salt-tastic and says, oh, why do you use that weapon? You're such a noob, when they're getting a bit thrashed. And that's them taking out their frustration. But when they bring it onto their own team, it's just, I don't know, it makes me want to cry a little bit. Now, obviously, the other part of this is rage quitters. Now, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same people who are doing these two things. There's a certain breed of people who are the worst. These people basically ruin games constantly for everyone else. It's as simple as that, really. So to be fair, we've all been put in games that are very poorly balanced, and you're with a bunch of much less experienced players. I've certainly been there before. It's a tiny bit frustrating when that does happen and you're being absolutely rolled, but there's always bound to be one or two fairly experienced players on your team, and when they rage quit, that's great. Now we've got zero chance of even putting up a fight, and the game is ruined. So cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. But even in those situations, just play along. So back in the days of casual servers, I actually used to try and switch teams to the underdogs team if we are absolutely rolling. I know that sounds like I'm trying to sound like some kind of saint or what have you. I just thought it was more fun, you know. There are different levels of enjoyment in terms of how a game goes. The most optimum one is a close game that you just about win. Then I think second is a close game that you just about lose. And then third is probably a game that you quite easily win. And then I think fourth is a game that you very easily lose, if you see what I mean. But if I can help slightly sway that by switching teams and going on a team that are being rolled, and if this just makes it a tiniest bit more of a challenge for the other team and a little bit trickier, then I'm having more fun. But I seem to have noticed that there are people in the world for who winning is just so important to them. It's so much more important than anything else, than enjoyment, having a laugh, a fair game, a challenge, none of that rubbish. Learning, getting better, don't want any of that rubbish, I just want to win. And that is just not a great way to enter any game, I think, any PC game. And something I kind of thought about the other day was basically how if you go into a game really honestly not minding if you win or lose, that's really hard to do because obviously naturally you're going to want to win, that's fair enough. But kind of at the same time just being kind of open to the fact that, half of these games I'm going to lose, hopefully it's slightly less than half, then you just enjoy things so much better, you enjoy life so much better. Alright, we're getting deep again. That's what these episodes are for, guys, getting deep. So one thing I wanted to touch upon is the why people do this. It might seem obvious, I don't know, but so yeah, going back to a real world example, very recently I was in a game, it was King of the Hill. It was a fairly close game, it was going well. I was enjoying it. They beat us 2-0. But it was close enough that in both those games we could have almost won, and that's fine, that's all I asked for in a game of Team Fortress. So when this player on our team, who was at the top of the table alongside myself, thank you very much, yes, I'm just boasting, no big deal, he said, to be honest I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of, rubbish team, great, I've got a noob team who have never played the game before, and it's like, cheers mate. Cheers for the morale boost, encouraging your teammates. That's the other thing. It just makes your team play worse, if anything. It's like, thanks for the encouragement, It just... But yeah, I was going to explain the why. Now, I think there's a really clear and obvious reason why they do this. So firstly, it's obviously just frustration. They're obviously annoyed at the situation, they really want to win, and they're not, and there's nothing they can do however hard they try, and so they kind of want to vent that. But there's more to it than that, I think. I think in a lot of situations, they're doing two other things. They're one, separating themselves from their team, making sure that everyone in the server is aware that we're losing, but it's not because of me, because I'm awesome. I'm bloody awesome at the game. Just want to say, oh, thank God, you told us that you're the great player on the team and everyone else is letting you down, I was just about to add you as a friend, but then I thought, you're losing, so I don't want to be your friend. And now I know that you're the great player. I'll add you as a friend and give you loads of money and just... No one cares about your life, okay? There's a bit of a ragey rant for you. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, but yeah, also I think it doesn't just segregate you from their team. It's almost like a shout out to all the good players on the server saying, I'm one of you guys, I'm one of the good players and this isn't my fault. It's a bit like what we discussed on the previous episode of this, where it's kind of self-gratification, it's patting yourself on the back, and it's just, venting frustration. And it's just a shame that it happens so often, really, because I do see it in almost every other game, On the particular example I remembered, and it was only the other day, I had equal amount of points to this guy, and he just sort of slagged off the entire team. I just thought, cheers mate, I've been trying hard, and I'm doing an okay job here. Even for me, I didn't really care too much, but it still made me feel negative. So it makes you wonder how bad it's making those new players feel who, are trying their hardest and maybe have just picked up the game. It's probably unlikely because apparently there are no new players in TF2, but anyway, not the point. So yeah, if any of you guys watching blame your team a lot, try to refrain from doing that because it's pointless. On the other hand, if there's a good reason for it, let me know, because I don't think there are any kind of talent scouts kind of waiting for you to say it and go, oh, okay, he was the best player on the team. All right then, I'll pick him up for my Sixes lineup. Anyway guys, apologies for that. It was a really ranty episode today. This was just something that's been on my mind for a while, and I thought that'd be a great topic for one of these Toofty Thinks Too Much episodes. Like I said, if you're someone who blames your team, I'd love to know why, and I'd also love you to stop if you could. That'd be great. Like I said at the beginning of this, if we could all just go into games with an open mind to lose maybe slightly less than half of them, And the key being not to expect to win all of them, which I think is the one error that people are having. Because in my example, it was close. And so that guy obviously wasn't just looking for a challenge, because that is annoying when you're not getting a challenge and you're just being completely rolled. The challenge wasn't enough. He wanted to win and nothing else would do. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say to summarise really, is just you're not going to win every one. You shouldn't win every one. You should have a challenge and lose ideally just less than half. I don't know if that's correct. I think that's right. Anyway, so like on Overwatch, you'll win one, and if you win enough, you'll go up a rank, then you'll get matched against harder players, and therefore you'll gradually lose more and more until it's roughly 50-50. I don't know. Wow, who would have knew I could moan for 10 minutes about a single topic, a single type of person, a single phrase on Team Fortress 2. Oh yeah, and one final thing, you can't change teams, which I think in a way is positive, because there used to be those kind of people who would actually switch to the better team, which is even worse than a rage quitter, and maybe even worse than someone who blames their team. I don't know, that really does just boil the blood. Anyway, I think there could be a mechanic where if you are willing to switch to the losing team and they say they've lost 3 or 4 players and they're clearly losing, being able to switch to their team should still be open, I think. But again, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Okay guys, thanks for listening to this episode. A bit of a rant. I hope it was fairly coherent at least. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really enjoying this series. Loads of stuff I want to chat to you guys about. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.